और सुन, सब चलता नहीं है, प्रॉपर चलाना पड़ता है। आरबीआई कहता है, जानकार बनिए, सतर्क रहिए।
Namaskar, I'm Abhishek Mahajan. In the next half an hour, I will present the top 100 news. In the ongoing budget session of the Parliament, the Lok Sabha was adjourned till 12 noon following uproar by the opposition over CAA-related issues and BJP MP Anand Hegde's alleged objectionable comment. When the House reassembled, members from Congress, DMK and others again trooped into the well, raising slogans. The Rajya Sabha also witnessed uproar over Citizenship Amendment Act, NPR and related issues. Derek O'Brien of TMC tried to raise the issue citing this adjournment motion, but Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu denied permission, saying that the members can discuss the issue during the debate on President's address. Ministry of Home Affairs today said that the government has not taken any decision to prepare the National Register of Indian Citizens at the national level. Ministry also said that the government is in discussion with the states who are concerned about preparation of National Population Register. In Rajya Sabha, Union Minister Prakash Javadekar blames the Delhi government for the delay in execution of Nirbhaya convicts. He says the Supreme Court had rejected the appeal in the year 2017, but jail authorities, which comes under Delhi government, delayed the implementation of the order by over 1 year. PM Narendra Modi addresses an election rally in Delhi's Dwarka, says that the protests at Seelampur, Jamia and Shahin Bagh are not a coincidence but an experiment designed with vested political interest to harm India's harmony. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi addresses an election rally in Jangpura in New Delhi. He targets NDA government on the issue of unemployment in the country. Aam Aadmi Party releases its party's manifesto for upcoming Delhi elections. Delhi Deputy CM Manish Sisodia says that our government has always worked for betterment of living conditions of people of Delhi and their families. Kerala declares state health calamity after 3 persons tested positive for coronavirus. Third case of novel coronavirus infection was reported yesterday in a student who returned to the state from Wuhan University in China. Over 2,000 people are under watch at houses and hospitals across the state. Kerala Health Minister K. Shelja says declaration of state health calamity is necessary to ensure that the outbreak is effectively controlled. Entire state machinery is gearing up to face the situation and medical officers on leave have been ordered to report for duty. A group of ministers met in New Delhi yesterday to review the preparedness and steps taken by the Ministries of Health, Shipping, External Affairs, Civil Aviation and Home Affairs regarding management of novel coronavirus in the country. The meeting was chaired by the Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan. Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister P.K. Mishra also reviewed the situation relating to novel coronavirus in the country and the arrangements for approximately 600 evacuees. National Security Advisor, Principal Advisor to the Prime Minister, Cabinet Secretary, Chief of Defence Staff and Secretaries of other relevant ministries were also present. Union Health Secretary Preeti Sudan holds a video conference with health secretaries of states, union territories and concerned ministries to review preparedness for management of novel coronavirus, stresses on community awareness and surveillance, logistics management and isolation facilities. Secretary also emphasizes on strengthening airport surveillance, including use of aero bridges. Meanwhile, 8 people admitted for suspected coronavirus infection in Cuttack and 7 persons suspected of being affected by coronavirus have been admitted in RML Hospital in New Delhi. Their blood samples have been sent for testing. President Ramnath Kovind inaugurates annual Udyanotsav at Rashtrapati Bhavan today. The Mughal Gardens will remain open for the general public free of cost from February 5th to March 8th. On World Cancer Day today, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu calls upon the medical fraternity and experts to raise awareness on cancer prevention among people. The Vice President in a tweet said that greater focus and attention must be paid towards early detection, diagnosis, treatment of cancer. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting Kokrajhar in Assam to participate in the celebrations of the signing of the Bodo Agreement on 7th of February 2020. The agreement was signed in New Delhi on 27th of January, following which 1,615 cadres of different factions of the NDFB surrendered their arms. Taranjit Singh Sandhu takes charge as the Indian ambassador of the United States, replacing Harshvardhan Shringla, who is the newly appointed Foreign Secretary. Sandhu had served in the Indian mission in Washington twice earlier. In J&K, one civilian killed and several others injured in unprovoked ceasefire violation from Pakistan along LOC. In Tangdhar sector of Kupwara, Indian troops gave befitting reply to Pakistani soldiers. An official said the Pakistani army had targeted the forward post of 2 Jat and 17 Bihar regiments. Ministerial level defence dialogue between Republic of Korea and India was held at South Block in New Delhi. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh and Korea's Defence Minister Kyong-do attended the meeting. Defence Minister of Republic of Korea was also conferred with the Guard of Honour. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh, in a series of tweets, termed the deliberations conducted with the Defence Minister of Republic of Korea as extremely fruitful. He also said that India's Indo-Pacific vision shares many commonalities with Republic of Korea's new southern policy. Raksha Mantri tweeted that the defence industry cooperation has been one of the most vibrant aspects of bilateral defence cooperation between India and Republic of Korea. He also tweeted that today the roadmap on defence industries cooperation was exchanged, which includes a list of possible areas of cooperation. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh today also met the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of State for Defence Affairs of Qatar, Dr. Khalid bin Mohammed Al Attiyah, in New Delhi. The 11th edition of Deaf Expo 2020 will be held from the 5th to 9th February at Lucknow in Uttar Pradesh and will be inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The International Monetary Fund and the World Bank have both expressed confidence in China's economy despite the harm on some sectors of the spreading novel coronavirus. The IMF is confident that China's economy remains resilient and that the Chinese authorities have policy space to respond. A survey has said that employers in India are bullish about their hiring outlook for the first half of this year, with 55% of recruiters anticipating new jobs as well as replacement hiring to happen during the 6-month period. Tata Sons chairman N. Chandrasekaran said that to get more women into India's workforce, stereotypes about women's capabilities need to be removed and that we got to create women role models in non-traditional areas. Sensex shoots up 917 points to clock its best day in over 4 months, closed at 40,789.38. The broader NSE Nifty settled at 11,979.65, surging 271.75 points, gaining the most in a single day in over 4 months. Gold prices dropped by Rs 388 to Rs 41,270 per 10 gram in the national capital, in line with sell-off in global prices and rupee. Also, silver prices rose by Rs 91 to Rs 45,981 per kg in futures trade as participants widened their bets amid a firm trend in precious metal overseas. Crude oil futures fell by Rs 16 to Rs 3,610 per barrel after participants reduced positions on weak domestic demand. The Indian rupee on Tuesday appreciated by 11 paise to close at 71.27 against the US dollar, tracking heavy buying in domestic equities and easing crude prices. As we observe World Cancer Day today, the World Health Organization has released a report warning that cancer cases would rise by 81% in low and middle income countries by 2040 because of a lack of investment in prevention and care. While cancer had long been considered a disease of wealthy countries, the report said this was no longer the case. According to the WHO report, India had an estimated 1.16 million new cancer cases in 2018, and 1 in 10 Indians will develop cancer during their lifetime and 1 in 15 will die of the disease. WHO report has found that cancer patterns in India are dominated by a high burden of tobacco-related cancers, particularly oral cancer in men and of cervical cancer in women. Both of these cancer types are associated with lower socio-economic status. The burden of cancer types such as breast cancer and colon cancer associated with obesity and lower levels of physical activity is increasing in India, and these cancer types are associated with higher socio-economic status. Death toll in China due to coronavirus outbreak mounts to 425 according to the National Health Commission as the country battles to contain the spread. There are now 20,438 confirmed cases of coronavirus in China. The much-awaited hospital in Wuhan has started with 50 patients already having arrived at the military-run facility. The 1,000-bed facility was built in less than 2 weeks to relieve hospitals swarmed with patients in Wuhan. On the other side, WHO Director Dr. Tedros Adhanom has warned that the world may be dangerously unprepared for the net pandemic as coronavirus spreads rapidly to new countries. Meanwhile, Japan quarantines a cruise ship carrying 3,500 people and tests passengers for the new coronavirus after a passenger who departed in Hong Kong was tested positive for the virus. After a halt of 3 days, Pakistan resumes its aviation services with China, and 143 Pakistani passengers have already arrived at Islamabad airport. On the contrary, UAE has suspended all its flights to and from China. The suspension will come into effect from Wednesday. The decision comes as a precautionary step to avoid coronavirus arrival. Meanwhile, Americans kicked off the first vote of the 2020 presidential race as the state of Iowa opened its caucuses. Just 41 Iowa delegates are up for grabs as a fraction of 1,991 are needed to secure the Democratic nomination. The race for White House begins as caucuses in Iowa vote, with President Donald Trump registering a thumping win. To this, President Donald Trump took to Twitter to express his happiness over the Iowa results, where he is chosen as the Republican face for the November 3 election. However, far-left Senator Bernie Sanders and moderate former Vice President Joe Biden are the front-runners, but polling has fluctuated and Iowa's quirky caucus system. Meanwhile, with the impeachment trial going, President Donald Trump came at the brink of ending his presidency as the US Senate began the final phase of his impeachment trial that will almost certainly conclude today with his acquittal. The 100 senators will hear 4 hours of closing arguments split equally between Trump's legal team and prosecutors from the Democratic-controlled House of Representatives. The United States requests a UN Security Council meeting on Thursday for US President Donald Trump's advisor, Jared Kushner, to present the administration's new Mideast peace plan. A fellow passenger was shot dead as a shootout occurs in a bus on Southern California, America. However, 5 others were left injured in the incident. The bus was transversing from Los Angeles to San Francisco. Meanwhile, in another incident in Texas, 2 people were left dead in a shootout in a university campus. However, 1 person was left injured. European Union High Representative Joseph Borrell visits Iran on his first trip since taking office with the aim of reducing tensions over the country's nuclear program. Borrell meets Iranian President Hassan Rouhani. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani said that Iran is ready to cooperate with the European Union on issues related to the nuclear deal it agreed with the world powers in 2015. Rouhani made his comments at a meeting with Joseph Borrell. Turkey's military hit 54 targets in Idlib and neutralized 76 Syrian government soldiers in retaliation for shelling. The Russian Defense Ministry said the Turkish units came under fire from Syrian government forces after moving without notifying Russia. On the other hand, Turkey said it had coordinated its military movements with Moscow. Moreover, Turkey's President Tayyip Erdogan said on Monday that Ankara will make Syrian government pay the necessary price for shelling in Idlib, and also warned Russia to stay out of Ankara's dealings with Damascus over the shelling. Meanwhile, Iran has ceased cooperation with Ukraine in its investigation into the downing of Ukrainian passenger jet PS-752 by Iranian missiles last month. It comes after leaked remarks suggested Iran knew immediately that it had struck the plane. In Libya, forces loyal to the UN-backed government of National Accord mobilized towards Sirte on Monday, a strategic coastal city controlled by Libyan forces loyal to Eastern Base Commander Khalifa Haftar and the Libyan National Army. In Denmark, police arrest 3 Iranian origins suspected of spying for Saudi Arabia. Police also convict the suspects of supporting the attacks shelled on Iran in 2018. French President Emmanuel Macron said on Monday that he hopes for greater defense cooperation with Poland over Libya as well as in Africa's Sahel in a joint news conference with Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki. Belgian judges decided to postpone their decision on the validity of a Spanish extradition requesting targeting former Catalan leaders Carles and 2 former members of his cabinet, their lawyers told reporters after hearing on Monday. Thousands of French lawyers and health workers joined forces in Paris on Monday to march against the government's proposed pension overhaul, which some called anti-democratic and deadly for the future of law practices. In Malawi, the Constitutional Court has annulled last year's disputed presidential election results, citing widespread irregularities and ordered a new vote. The election last May returned the sitting president to power. In Kenya, a stampede occurred at a primary school campus, claims lives of 14 students and leaves dozens injured. The injured students have been admitted to the hospital. In Rwanda, a major landslide due to heavy rainfall causes death of 13 people and also injures 2 others. The murders of nearly 200 former fighters from the FARC rebels pose a difficulty in implementing Colombia's peace deal, an official said on Monday, but they insisted the government is committed to providing security and criticized complaints leveled by FARC party leader. Brazil is expanding its nuclear energy plant at Angra do Reis in Rio de Janeiro state, boosting the country's power credentials in Latin America. Brazil's development bank is backing the expanded construction of the Angra 3 nuclear power plant in cooperation with the private sector. A family of capybaras, the world's largest rodents, is being treated to hot baths twice a day in Izu Shaboten Zoo in Japan to cope with the long winters. The capybaras are weighing between 77 to 143 pounds. The 23-day Copenhagen Light Festival kicks off, bringing some much-needed light and color to the dark and wintry Danish capital. One of the most famous faces in the world peers out from a mosaic of Rubik's Cubes in a Paris auction house, where a version of the Mona Lisa will be up for bids later in the month. The 2005 work by French urban artist Innovator is made up of 330 blocks of the iconic puzzle game. The annual Groundhog Day event at Gobbler's Knob in Pennsylvania has Punk's Sotavni Phil declaring whether winter will last 6 more weeks or if spring will come early based on whether or not he sees his own shadow after appearing from his winter den. In the Georgian capital, Tbilisi, locals and animal welfare organizations are working to improve the lives of the city's street dogs. A campaign started in 2015 captures the dogs, sterilizes and vaccinates them, and releases healthy, docile ones back onto the streets. Flamenco Soul took the catwalk by storm as dozens of models and fashion designers participated in the 26th edition of the International Flamenco Fashion Show in Seville. Around 1,700 dresses by 80 designers were presented during the 4-day show. Ashes of Lord Buddha and his 2 chief disciples, Arihant and Sariputta, were showcased in a vibrant procession in Bodh Gaya in Bihar on Monday. Devotees and monks from various countries participated in the procession. Robert Sordley from Norway won the Femund sled dog race on Monday. The Femund race is part of the Arctic World Series, which culminates at Alaska's Iditarod, which starts on March 7th. Conservative radio talk show host Hush Limbaugh announced that he has been diagnosed with advanced lung cancer but plans to continue to do his program as normally and as competently as he can while he undergoes treatment. Hollywood actor Joaquin Phoenix leads an animal protest along with Earthlings Experience activists in London. Philip Selve, drummer of popular music band Radiohead, confirms the band is taking a break in 2020 to focus on other projects. Opening batsman Rohit Sharma ruled out of the rest of the tour of New Zealand after suffering a calf strain in the final 2020 international in Mount Maungani, according to BCCI. Virat Kohli confirms Prithvi Shaw and Mayank Agarwal will open in the 3 ODI series in New Zealand, maybe as early as in the first game on Wednesday. Kohli also confirmed KL Rahul will continue to keep wickets and bat at number 5 to give him more time to settle into his new role. BCCI lists Shubman Gill in the Test squad for the New Zealand series. Ishant Sharma has also been named by BCCI for the Test squad, but there seems to be uncertainty over his fitness. New Zealand's cricket team captain Kane Williamson ruled out of the first 2 ODIs against India due to a shoulder problem. He has been replaced by Mark Chapman. Williamson hurt his left shoulder while fielding in a 2020 match against India last week. A maiden youth ODI century from Dan Mosley and a 5-wicket haul by Lewis Goldworthy leads England to a dominant victory over Sri Lanka in the ICC Under-19 World Cup played final, sealing a 9th place finish overall in the tournament in South Africa. Glenn Maxwell to return for the first time after his mental health leave since the start of summer. Giving him company in the Australian colours will be Matthew Wade and Mitchell Marsh. Tennis player Andy Murray's former coach Alex Cordier says the former world number 1 must build up his fitness during the European clay court season, but should consider skipping the French Open to be fresh for the Wimbledon. Serena Williams fails to win a Grand Slam title since returning to tennis. Her coach Patrick Mouratoglou says Williams needs to change her strategy and face reality. Serena has lost 4 major finals since giving birth to a daughter in September 2017. AirAsia Group BHD's Tony Fernandez denies that a now defunct Formula One racing team formerly co-owned by him had any links to a bribery scandal involving the Airbus SE, as authorities investigate allegations that Airbus paid a bribe of $50 million through sponsorship of the Caterham F1 team to win orders from AirAsia. Former England striker Ian Wright says for it to be a successful season for Manchester City, it should work towards winning the Champions League. The defending champions are 22 points behind Premier League leaders Liverpool with 13 games remaining. Atlanta coach Gian Piero Gasperini has been named Serie A Manager of the season. Gasperini has been voted Serie A Manager of the Year for 2018-19 after leading the Bergamo side into the Champions League. Liverpool's under-23 manager Neil Critchley says under-23 stars have nothing to prove to anyone as they prepare to deputise for Liverpool senior players as they face Shrewsbury Town in the FA Cup. Red Bull's Max Verstappen says he can beat Lewis Hamilton in this year's World Championship as long as his car is good enough. The 22-year-old Dutchman thinks his team can mount a challenge to Mercedes. He says he can beat Hamilton, but it is very car dependent. Babenco, Tell Me When I Die by Brazilian Barbara Paz bagged the Golden Conch Award for Best Documentary Film at 16th Mumbai International Film Festival, which concluded in Mumbai last evening. A Marathi film, Pavasha Nibandh by Nagraj Manjul bagged the Silver Conch for Best Short Fiction Film. Actors Tahir Raj Bhasin, Amala Paul and Amrita Puri will be starring in Mahesh Bhatt's web series based on the relationship of a struggling filmmaker and a top actress of the 70s era. Bhatt's Vishesh Films and Geo Studios have joined hands for the yet untitled project. Veteran actor Rishi Kapoor, who was hospitalized earlier this week, says he is being treated for a patch that could have led to pneumonia. Thanks his fans and family for their concern. The 21st IFA Awards 2020 to be held in Indore on March 27th. Salman Khan and Jacqueline Fernandez unveiled the date of the upcoming event. Rapper Safri Samuels and wife Erica Mena welcomed their first child. A baby girl shares the photos on Instagram. Disney is set to release the big screen adaptation of award-winning stage musical Hamilton's theatre performance with its original Broadway cast. Based on a book by Lin-Manuel Miranda, the musical is inspired by the 2004 biography Alexander Hamilton by historian Ron Chernow. Jennifer Lopez and Shakira brought an energetic jolt of Latina star power to Sunday's Super Bowl halftime show. Both popular music artists spoke towards a message of unity and to show what a relevant force the Latin community is in the USA. The Academy shared spot-on prediction list for Oscars 2020 on Twitter, creating buzz within the fans. Later cleared the confusion that these are just the pre-assumptions. However, fans feel suspense about the awards has been reunited. Well, that's all we have on this news bulletin. Stay tuned for more news and updates.